Hello, my name is Eric, and today I'm going to show you how to change the shaft in an Oil Gear PVWJ C-frame pump. The procedure is going to be the same for the PVWJ 064, 076, 098, and PVWJ 130 pumps. First thing I'm going to do is remove the large snap ring from the drive end bore, and I've already gone ahead and done that. But usually before I remove the snap ring, I like to take a mallet and gently tap the end of the shaft. That pushes the shaft in a little bit, and it separates the outer race of the drive end bearing from the snap ring, makes it a little bit easier to disassemble. We'll carefully remove the snap ring, and at this point we can grasp the end of the shaft and pull it out of the body of the pump. To do this does not require any pump disassembly, no change of settings on the control. And generally I'm not strong enough just to pull the shaft out, so on a spline shaft it's very simple. I take a spanner wrench and a little bit of leverage, and I can pop the shaft out of the bore. If I'm dealing with a keyed shaft, for example, what I find works really well is to use the original coupling on there. I'll just make sure the coupling half is tight, and then I can pull on that or get some leverage with that. So I can go ahead and remove the shaft and bearing assembly, set that aside. Directly behind that is going to be the shaft seal retainer. Shaft seal retainer can go in any direction. There's no front or back. So in this position, I also have access to the shaft seal. If, for example, I had a leaking shaft seal, I could go ahead and change the shaft seal at this point. If I'm just changing the shaft from a keyed shaft to a spline shaft, or I'm replacing a worn shaft, I can go ahead and put that new shaft in at this point, and I typically reuse the shaft seal unless the pump has been leaking. I also like to lubricate the shaft seal a little bit with the fluid from the system, and also before I install the shaft, I like to put a little of the fluid on the shaft itself, especially in the spline area. So I can reinstall my shaft seal retainer, install the shaft. I'll have to rotate it so that the splines of the shaft engage the splines of the rotating group. And I can push that in. And I like to take a mallet and gently tap that. I'll tap that until it's seated. At that point I can see that the bore for the snap ring is fully exposed, and I'll go ahead and install my snap ring at this point. If I did change from a spline shaft to a keyed shaft, for example, at this point I would go ahead and change the nameplate to reflect that change of shaft. So if we have to service the pump in the future, the mechanics will know the type of shaft that was used or replaced.